This video is sponsored by G Fuel, guys. Go check out G Fuel. I'm sure you guys know what it is. It is your perfect energy drink for gamers. Go check them out. Use code CFLASH on the G Fuel shop for 20% off your purchases. And look at this. You could get a cool cup like this one. It is awesome. Good quality too. But once again, thank you G Fuel for sponsoring today's video. Huge sponsor of the channel. And like I said, guys, please go check them out for me. Go use the code. Go use my links. Everything's in the description down below. And once again, thank you G Fuel for sponsoring today's video. Hey everybody, what's going on? Chris here, otherwise known as CFRacing, and we are back with our next 10 years of Formula 1 series. Today's episode is going to be 2026, and man, it is a pretty good episode, I gotta say, and stay tuned for 2027 and 2028. I did just actually film those, so stay tuned for them. They are really interesting, and maybe not McLaren domination, so stay tuned for that. But also, I just want to say thank you guys for the support on the series. I know you guys are really loving it. Also, thanks for being very accepting. I took a little bit of time off, like 2-3 weeks over the holidays, just to see family and just hang out and just have pretty much just a big reset. So we're back grinding on YouTube. As you guys can see, we're posting the shorts now. But yeah, we're heading into the 2026 season. Once again, go check every single mod creator. All their links are going to be in the description down below. These videos would not be possible without them, as they make really cool liveries for these mods and really cool liveries for this series. It's not for the series, but they're on race departments. Just go check them out, give them a download or a follow, or just even donate to their like little support me pages. Anything really helps, and it's really awesome. With that being said, guys, enjoy the 2026 Formula 1 season. Heading into 2026, this is what your pecking order looks like heading into Bahrain. And it looks like Aston Martin actually has the best car, with McLaren second best. They're still looking good. Mercedes are third, with Ferrari fourth, Red Bull fifth, and Alpine in sixth. All very close to each other. Then we got Williams, Haas, Alfa Romeo, and AlphaTauri all at the bottom of the grid here, and they just completely suck. But let's head into Bahrain. And in Bahrain, Oscar Piastri wins the first race of the season with Lando Norris in P2 and Fernando Alonso in P3. Gasly was fourth, followed by Lance Stroll, Esteban Ocon, Carlos Sainz, George Russell, Verstappen ninth, Charles Leclerc 10th, Norris had fastest lap, and Oscar Piastri won from pole. Race 2 in Saudi Arabia was won by Oscar Piastri as he goes back-to-back to win the first two races of 2026, with Russell in third and Alonso fourth. Gasly was fifth, followed by Lance Stroll, Carlos Sainz, Charles Leclerc, Sergio Perez, Esteban Ocon. Piastri had fastest lap and pole and had the Grand Slam. We have Lando Norris taking the win with Oscar Piastri P2, and Lance Stroll gets his first podium in a long time. He finishes third. Alonso was fourth, followed by Gasly fifth, Charles Leclerc sixth, Carlos Sainz seventh, Max Verstappen eighth, Esteban Ocon ninth, Zhou Guanyu 10th, and Norris had fastest lap, and Oscar Piastri had pole position. Race 4 in China was the first non-McLaren win of the season, as George Russell takes the win, with Fernando Alonso in P2 and Oscar Piastri in P3. Lando Norris finishes fourth, followed by Pierre Gasly fifth, Lance Stroll sixth, Perez seventh, Verstappen eighth, Ocon ninth, Zhou P10. Piastri had fastest lap, and Lando Norris started from pole. Heading into round 5 in Miami, McLaren looks like it slightly has the best car now, with Aston Martin in second. Then we have Mercedes, Alpine in fourth, Ferrari, and Red Bull all battling for that third place spot. Mercedes is kind of a clear third, but hey, they're still doing pretty good. Then we got Williams, Haas, Alfa Romeo, and AlphaTauri just sucking in real bad, and they are dead last. Honestly, they're not doing too well. It's a big gap between the top 6 teams and the bottom. Race 5 in Miami was won by Fernando Alonso at the ripe age of like 48 or something, with Zhou Guanyu. Hear me? What? Zhou Guanyu finishing P2, and Oscar Piastri finishes P3. Norris was fourth, followed by George Russell, Lance Stroll sixth, Ocon seventh, Gasly eighth, Perez ninth, Charles Leclerc 10th. Zhou had fastest lap, and Lando Norris started from pole. At the end of the race in Miami, here is the driver's standings. Piastri's in the lead. He's actually beating Lando Norris. Could we actually have a title fight between the Australian and the British driver? That would be quite interesting. Alonso still kicking in the title fight here, and then it's a big drop off to George Russell, Lance Stroll. Then we got Gasly in sixth. Zhou Guanyu is in Alpine. He did get the podium for them. Good for Zhou Guanyu there. He's actually doing better than Ocon this season. Sainz is ninth. Charles Leclerc, I don't know why the simulation hates him. He's in 10th. Perez is actually somehow tied with Verstappen. Liam Lawson's in 13th, with Teo Pourchaire in 14th. And then 15th, we got Daniel Ricciardo with Kevin Magnussen 16th, Yuki Tsunoda 17th, Hülkenberg 18th, Albon is in 19th, and yeah, Brandon Lee's in 20th, but it's actually, I think it's a Haas driver. I think it's it's Kevin Magnussen or someone like that. I don't remember who's in dead last, but it's not looking good for them. In the constructor standings, we got McLaren on top, and no surprise, with Aston Martin pretty close behind, and then McLaren being carried by George Russell. They're in third. Alpine's ahead of Ferrari and Red Bull. Wow, that's kind of impressive. Ferrari's fifth, Red Bull sixth. Haas, Alfa Romeo, Williams, and AlphaTauri all have not scored. I'm pretty sure literally the top 6 teams are going to score all year. That's just how good the cars are. Race 6 in Imola was won by Piastri with Alonso P2 and Norris P3. Russell was 4th, followed by Gasly, and we got Lance Stroll, Esteban Ocon, Max Verstappen, Zhou Guanyu 9th, Sainz 10th, Russell had fastest lap, and Ocon had pole. Race 7 in Monaco was a back-to-back win for Oscar Piastri with Norris P2 and Alonso P3. Gasly was 4th, followed by George Russell, Lance Stroll, Carlos Sainz, Esteban Ocon, Verstappen 9th, Charles Leclerc 10th, Norris had fastest lap, and Piastri once again won from pole. Race 8 in Spain was a 3 in a row for Oscar Piastri with Lando Norris in 2nd and Gasly in 3rd. We're really seeing a very dominant Piastri this season. Verstappen was in 5th, followed by Lance Stroll, Sergio Perez, Zhou Guanyu, Sainz 9th, Charles Leclerc 10th, Piastri had fastest lap, and George Russell had pole position. Race 9 in Canada was a win for Alpine. Can't believe that came out of nowhere, with Esteban Ocon taking the win in my home country, with Fernando Alonso in P2 and Oscar Piastri in 3rd. Lando Norris was 4th, followed by Lance Stroll, George Russell, Verstappen 7th, Gasly 8th, Perez 9th, Charles Leclerc in P10. Piastri had fastest lap, and pole position was actually Lando Norris, but hey, good for you, Esteban. I am very proud that you won a race in this simulation. Heading into round 10, and Silverstone, looks like Aston Martin has now just pipped McLaren for the best par. For some reason, Alpine is doing really good. They're in 3rd according to this performance index. They're really close with McLaren, and then there's a really close fight between Ferrari and Red Bull, and then the rest of the other teams, Williams, Haas, Alfa Romeo, and AlphaTauri, they all absolutely suck. In round 10 in Silverstone, we got Pierre Gasly's first win. You know what happens when Ocon wins, Gasly also wins. That's just what happens in Formula 1, with a 1-2 for Mercedes as Russell's 2nd and Lando Norris is 3rd. Piastri's 4th, followed by Fernando Alonso, Lance Stroll, Charles Leclerc, Max Verstappen, Carlos Sainz, Zhou Guanyu 10th, Gasly at fastest lap, and George Russell started from pole. And at the end of round 10 in Silverstone, here is your driver standings update, with Oscar Piastri having a 38-point lead over Lando Norris. Good job, Oscar, with Fernando Alonso in 3rd, and Gasly is actually 4th. He's ahead of Russell, surprisingly. Lance Stroll's in 6th, followed by Ocon 7th, Verstappen 8th, Carlos Sainz 9th, Zhou Guanyu 10th, Charles Leclerc 11th, Checo Perez in 12th, Daniel Ricciardo in 13th, and Liam Lawson is in 14th. 15th, we got Yuki Tsunoda. 16th is Yuki Tsunoda. 17th is Kevin Magnussen. 18th is Logan Sargent. 19th is Nico Hülkenberg. And in dead last, we have Alexander Albon. This is really just who can finish like 11th between these bottom cars, because all their cars absolutely suck. McLaren is dominating the Constructors' Championship, with Mercedes and Aston Martin completely tied. That's very interesting. Alpine is in 4th with Red Bull 5th. They passed Ferrari, who's 6th, and the rest of the teams have yet to score. Looking thrilling, isn't this? Top 5 teams. This is very interesting. And now in France, Lando Norris finally gets a win this year. I think it's his 2nd win, as Alonso finishes 2nd and Piastri's 3rd. Russell's 4th, followed by Lance Stroll, Esteban Ocon, Gasly 7th, Charles Leclerc 8th, Carlos Sainz 9th, Checo Perez in 10th. Norris had fastest lap and pole and had the Grand Slam. George Russell wins in Hungary in round 12 with Gasly in 2nd and Oscar Piastri in 3rd. Lando Norris was 4th, followed by Fernando Alonso, Lance Stroll 6th, Zhou Guanyu 7th, Verstappen 8th, Carlos Sainz 9th, Charles Leclerc 10th, Gasly at fastest lap, and George Russell won from pole. In the Spa sprint race, first of 3 sprint races this season, unfortunately I can only do a limit of minimum of 3. I would do none if I could. Lando Norris won with Piastri 2nd, Ocon 3rd, Russell 4th, Gasly 5th, Charles Leclerc 6th, Checo Perez 7th, and Fernando Alonso in 8th. And in Spa, Lando Norris won from pole once again with Piastri in P2 and Gasly in 3rd. Ocon was 4th, followed by Fernando Alonso, George Russell, Charles Leclerc, Carlos Sainz, Perez 9th, Verstappen 10th. Russell had fastest lap, and like I said, Lando Norris won from pole. Race 14 in the Netherlands had George Russell taking his 3rd win, I believe, of the season, or Mercedes' 4th win, so good for Mercedes actually putting a fight to McLaren, because McLaren's been dominating. Gasly was 2nd, it's a 1-2 for Mercedes, with Lando Norris in 3rd and Oscar Piastri in 4th. Alonso was 5th, followed by Charles Leclerc, Ocon 7th, Sainz 8th, Verstappen 9th, Stroll 10th, Gasly had fastest lap, and Oscar Piastri started from pole. Heading into round 15 in Monza, it looks like the grid is very much catching up, all to maximum cars, which is pretty exciting. Aston Martin's got the best car, but McLaren, Mercedes, Ferrari, Alpine, and Red Bull are all doing pretty well here. And look at this, everybody. Williams has finally broken out of the bottom of the grid here, so they're just racing completely by themselves. And then Haas, Alfa Romeo, and AlphaTauri all just still suck, and they are in dead last. Getting into actually 2027, which is going to be the next video that I do on this series, there is a major regulation change to aero, chassis, and power. Literally the three performance departments, which is great because I don't think we've had a regulation change in a while. So get ready for that. The grid's going to shake up, hopefully. Please, I hope so, heading into 2027. And in Monza, Piastri comes out on top with Carlos Sainz and Charles Leclerc P2 and P3. What happened to Ferrari? They're actually doing pretty good. Lando Norris was 4th with Gasly 5th, Alonso 6th, Verstappen 7th, Perez 8th, Stroll 9th, Gasly P10. Fastest lap was Gasly, and pole position was Piastri, and it's Russell P10, not Gasly. Sorry, I messed that up. But man, Ferrari P2 and P3. Like, I guess they're doing what they normally do and set their car up for Monza and nothing else. In the driver standings, Piastri still has a 32-point lead ahead of Lando Norris. Looks like Fernando Alonso was fallen out of the title fight. That's unfortunate. Then we got both Mercedes drivers in 4th and 5th. Lance Stroll doing all right in 6th. Ocon is 7th. Charles Leclerc is now ahead of Carlos Sainz. He's in 8th. Carlos Sainz is 9th. Verstappen's 10th. Zhou Guanyu is 11th. Sergio Perez is 12th. I guess they're not tied anymore in points. 13th, and with no points, is Liam Lawson. He's the best of the no scorers. Daniel Ricciardo is 14th. 15th is Teo Pourchaire. 16th is Sonoda. 17th, K-Mag. 18th, Alabunno. 19th is Logan Sargent. And 20th is Nico Hulkenberg. This is thrilling. I love how these guys have not scored a single point. I can't believe that. In the drivers and the constructor standings, we have McLaren. I think they're going to wrap it up pretty soon, with Mercedes in 2nd and Aston Martin's 3rd. Alpine's 4th with Ferrari 5th. Red Bull now has the worst team that has scored points this year, and the rest have not scored any points. So if one of these teams score 1 point, man, they are going to be cooking. In the race 16, we have George Russell taking the win with Piastri in P2 and Lando Norris in 3rd. Alonso's 4th, followed by Lance Stroll, Max Verstappen, Pierre Gasly 7th, Carlos Sainz 8th, Checo Perez 9th, Charles Leclerc 10th. Fastest lap was Lando Norris, and pole position was George Russell. Hey, George Russell coming out strong in the second half. Race 17 in Japan, we have a back-to-back win for George Russell. Damn, he's going crazy right now with Gasly. I put 2 L's for some reason there. He's in 2nd, and Oscar Piastri in 3rd. Charles Leclerc, good for Charles Leclerc, finishing P4 with Sainz 5th, Ocon 6th, Verstappen 7th, Lando Norris 8th, Alonso P9, Stroll 10th, Russell had fastest lap, and Piastri started from pole. In the Coda Sprint Race, we got another win for Mercedes. They're going crazy right now with Gasly in P1 and Verstappen in P2. After all this McLaren domination, it's good to see another color on the screen besides orange. Russell's 3rd with Alonso 4th, Piastri 5th, Charles Leclerc 6th, Carlos Sainz 7th, and Lance Stroll in 8th. The Coda main race, there we go. Pierre Gasly with his 2nd win, I believe, of the season, with Russell in 2nd, another Mercedes 1-2, and Verstappen actually in P3. Alonso was 4th, Piastri 5th, Ocon 6th, Perez 7th, Sainz 8th, Charles Leclerc 9th, Lance Stroll 10th, Gasly had fastest lap and pole, and won the sprint race, and this is the greatest weekend ever for Pierre Gasly. Great job, Pierre. Unreal. Race 19 in Mexico is the first time in like 3 years that Max Verstappen has won a race. That's kind of crazy. That's insane. He won for Red Bull with Gasly in P2 and Piastri in P3. Sainz is 4th, followed by Charles Leclerc, P5, Perez 6th, Alonso 7th, Russell 8th, Ocon 9th, Zhou Guanyu 10th, Sainz had fastest lap, and Max Verstappen actually won from pole. Are we going to get some more Verstappen? Oh, it's Mexico. That's why he won. Max Verstappen always wins in Mexico. Heading into round 20 in Brazil, and Red Bull now has the best car. That's kind of crazy. Right at the end of the regulation change. You love to see it. I love when it gets close right at the end of the regulation change. Aston Martin is 2nd with McLaren 3rd, Mercedes 4th, Ferrari's 5th, Alpine 6th. Williams, hey, they're still like in no man's land. Alfa Romeo, AlphaTauri, and Haas haven't upgraded the car all season, so I hope to God they're gonna have a good car next year, please. because they haven't done a single upgrade. But everybody else is pretty much maxed out, so that's pretty cool. The Brazil sprint race, I think this is the last sprint race, was won by Verstappen with Piastri P2, Russell 3rd, Lando Norris 4th, Gasly 5th. There's like a weird looking glitch beside Charles Leclerc's name right there. That's strange. I've never seen that before. Sainz was 7th, and Fernando Alonso was in 8th. And Verstappen won back-to-back races in Brazil and Mexico. That's kind of crazy. Don't let Max get hot, let me tell you guys. We've seen that in 2022 and 2023. Piastri was 2nd with Gasly 3rd, Norris 4th, Russell in 5th, Alonso 6th, Sainz 7th, Perez 8th, Charles Leclerc 9th, Ocon P10, Piastri had fastest lap, and Max Verstappen won from pole. And now we're looking at the driver standings once again, as Piastri has an 83-point lead with like 3 rounds to go, I think it is, with Lando Norris in P2 and George Russell in 3rd. That's pretty exciting. Pierre Gasly's 4th, followed by Fernando Alonso in 5th, Max Verstappen 6th, Lance Stroll 7th, Esteban Ocon 8th, Carlos Sainz 9th, Charles Leclerc is in 10th, Perez in 11th, Zhou Guanyu is in 12th, and now we got the people who haven't scored yet. We got Liam Lawson, Daniel Ricciardo, Teo Porcher, Yuki Tsunoda, Kevin Magnussen, Alexander Albon, Logan Sargent, and Nico Hülkenberg, all scoring 0 points still all season. This is great. Yeah, so it's all pretty close, and I completely failed to mention that Oscar Piastri did wrap up the title this weekend. You guys saw it in the cutscene. I just didn't do the math properly in my head. Good job, Oscar Piastri. You are a one-time World Drivers Champion. You love to see it. Good for little Oscar beating Lando Norris this season. I wonder who's going to be the McLaren #1 now. Obviously, McLaren wrapped up the Constructors title as well, but nobody cares about that, with Mercedes in 2nd and Aston Martin's in 3rd. Ferrari actually has a good fight with Red Bull right now. 3-point difference for 4th. Alpine could make that mix. They're looking pretty good, and the rest obviously haven't scored. And heading into round 21 in Portugal, we got George Russell taking the win with Verstappen P2 and Oscar Piastri in 3rd. Lando Norris was 4th, followed by Perez 5th, Charles Leclerc 6th, Alonso 7th, Gasly 8th, Carlos Sainz 9th, Stroll 10th, Russell at fastest lap pole, and the Grand Slam. Race 22 in Vegas, finally another McLaren win. Can't believe I'm saying that after they won like every single race last year, with Piastri in P2 and Verstappen in P3. Russell's in 4th, followed by Gasly 5th, Sainz 6th, Perez 7th, Ocon 8th, Charles Leclerc 9th, Alonso P10, Lando Norris had fastest lap, and Carlos Sainz won from pole. Round 23 in Abu Dhabi was won by George Russell. This is the last race of the year, by the way, with Gasly in P2 and Verstappen in P3. Perez was P4, followed by Lando Norris, Charles Leclerc, Oscar Piastri in 7th, Carlos Sainz 8th, Ocon 9th, Stroll 10th. Gasly had fastest lap and pole, but unfortunately did not win the race. But now, guys, let's take a look at the final standings for 2026. And as we know, Oscar Piastri did end up winning the Drivers' Championship, first time for everything. And look at this. George Russell actually pipped Lando Norris for P2 by 1 point. Good job, George Russell. With Gasly in 4th, Alonso was 5th, kind of middle of nowhere. Verstappen had a pretty good end of the year in 6th. Stroll was 7th, Sainz was 8th, Ocon was 9th, tied with Charles Leclerc in P10. 11th was Sergio Perez, 12th was Zhou, and look at this, from 13th to P20, not a single point was scored. That's how bad these cars were, guys. That is how terrible those cars were. And some of them were in the Williams, and at the end of the year, the Williams was actually not terrible. It just wasn't as good as the top 6, and there was no DNFs between them whenever these guys had good races, which is kind of crazy. I can't believe that actually happened. But let's take a look at the standings here. McLaren obviously won the Constructors with Mercedes 2nd. Aston Martin, I spelled it wrong. Nice, Aston Martin. Red Bull is in 4th. Ferrari was 5th. They ended up having a bad end to the year. Red Bull had a great end to the year. Alpine was 6th. Haas, Alfa Romeo, Williams, and AlphaTauri all did not score. Yeah, I can't believe that. 4 teams scoring 0 points. Imagine that actually happens in real life. That would be kind of crazy. And at the end of the year, here are your driver lineups for 2027. Porsche and K-Mag at Williams, Verstappen and Perez at Red Bull, Gasly and George Russell at Mercedes, Piastri and Lando Norris at McLaren. We got Jack Doohan, rookie driver for Haas, with Logan Sargent as his teammate. Carlos Sainz and Charles Leclerc are at Ferrari. Stroll and Zhou Guanyu, or Stroll and Alonso are at Aston Martin. We got Zhou and Ocon at Alpine, Albon and Tsunoda at AlphaTauri, and Daniel Ricciardo and Liam Lawson at Alfa Romeo. So guys, that is going to wrap it up for today's video. Once again, thank you so much for watching, and you guys are great. I love you all. You all are amazing. Happy New Year, by the way. Go check out G Fuel. Once again, links are in the description, and go check out all the mod creators. And with that being said, I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.